This is one fat boy, and here are my NBA game predictions for April 6th. Tonight there are 6 games. I will be going over the spreads and over-unders for each of them. For each of the games, since as of recording the over-unders aren't out yet, I'll be going over my own predictions. So of course when they come out they'll be different. So for Dallas at Detroit, Dallas should be able to win this game no problem. I will be leaning towards Dallas minus 10 in this case, as Detroit, even though they're playing at home, this is the last few games. They're pretty much just playing for pride at this point. I think Dallas, they just have to position themselves better in the playoffs to secure where they are. So, their last 3 games do matter. Like their last few games will seed them. I will lean towards a more defensive game, as Dallas should be able to clamp down on Detroit. And Dallas isn't like a crazy high-scoring team, so that's why I'm leaning towards an under overall for this game. And pretty much no matter where the over-under would come out, if it's anything below 212, I'd take it over 212, but I'd lean towards an under 218.5. For Brooklyn at the Knicks, we'll be leaning towards the Knicks plus 7.5. So the Nets, they should be able to win this game, but the Knicks, and also the Nets playing last night, Knicks did not play last night, so they should have better energy. You are playing at Madison Square Garden, but that is one of those arenas where a Durant or an Irving can go off, score 40 plus points or just have a monster game. And so that's why I lean towards Brooklyn winning, but I think the Knicks should be able to keep this close just because they are fresher. But I just think that one clip where it shows the Knicks in Orlando just making bad play after bad play. So that's why I have a hard time betting on the Knicks to win overall. But I will be leaning towards an under for this game as well, as for an under 226.5. As of Brooklyn playing last night, and I was kind of expecting a higher scoring output by them, and they didn't. So I almost kind of expect the same. So that's how I'd be leaning towards an under for this game, as I really don't expect the Knicks to score a crazy amount of points, nothing over 110. They're probably going to be in that 103 range. For Boston at Chicago, we go with Boston minus 6.5. As the Bulls, they struggle against those top 3 teams in both conferences, and Boston is one of those top 3 teams. So, in turn, I expect the Bulls to lose, and Boston should be able to handle the Bulls no problem. And I just expect this streak to continue, so I don't even care who is on the Celtics. They just have a better system than what the Bulls have been putting forth. So that's why I just lean towards Boston. I will lean towards an over in this game, which is kind of weird considering what the other games, as I view Boston as a more defensive team. I just expect them to be a little more relaxed, as the Bulls, their defense isn't great, so I expect Boston to score a few more points. And pretty much there's 2 people that can get going for the Bulls, and Levine and DeRozan. I expect one of them, as this is an important game for the Bulls, just have a pretty good game. So that's why I just lean towards an over in 217.5 against with teams that do have quality players. It seems like it should hit overall, so that's why I'd lean towards an over 217.5. For the Wizards at Atlanta, be going with Atlanta minus 9, with Washington playing last night and Atlanta having a reason to play, as just for position reasons, just trying to get the home court advantage for their playing game. I just lean towards Atlanta minus 9. I think they have better pieces than the Wizards. But do I count the Wizards out plus 9? No, not really. But do I see Atlanta winning? Yeah, Atlanta should win this game. I will lean towards an over for this game. Lean towards an over 228.5. I believe that when the spread comes out, it'll be probably closer to 234. But I think 228 is a little safer, obviously. For an over, as Atlanta, they can score a lot, and the Wizards playing last night, their defense won't be that great. So as long as Atlanta makes their open shots, shouldn't be a problem. Then I think Atlanta's defense not the greatest. Wizards have been scoring more, at least 115. I feel each game. So that's why I just lean towards an over for this game. For the Thunder at the Jazz, so both these teams played last night. Both of them won, but Jazz won in overtime. Both of them played close games, but I will just lean towards the Thunder. I think Jazz, they should win this usually when you're favored 17.5 points, usually to come out with a win. But I think it's going to be hard to beat the Thunder by 17.5 points. I think it's possible to beat them by 10 points. Don't get me wrong. Like, Thunder's is not a great team. But with both of them playing last night, I expect like a lower scoring game. So those in turn tend to be a tad bit closer. So that's why I just lean towards OKC plus 17.5. And also why I'll be taking an under of 219.5 as with the Thunder scoring 98 last night against the Trailblazers. I think the Jazz are a better defensive team. Like, Thunder will have to do all their scoring from the outside, as I don't know how they'll fare with Gobert in the middle. But overall, I'll just lean towards an under just because the Thunder will struggle offensively. And the Jazz, they're just kind of random on offensive as of late. Their offensive production, pretty random. So that's why I lean towards an under of 219.5. For the Suns at the Clippers, so I will lean towards the Clippers plus 2.5, as the Suns really don't have anything to play for right now, as they just got their franchise record for wins. They are the guaranteed 1 seed, so they're just playing just to prove that they're better than the other team. And the Clippers are kind of in the same boat, but just on the opposite. Like, they are the 8th seed. I'm sure they just want to win too, but overall, spread-wise, I probably wouldn't bet on this game. I think the Clippers have a little bit more reason to be playing, as they just want to get more adjusted as a team with Paul George back in the lineup, and also prove that they can have like a competitive game against the Suns. But also they're fresher. Like, that's another reason. That's pretty much the main reason why I bet towards the Clippers, as they're just gonna be fresher. I will lean towards over 218.5, as I think the Suns and the Clippers will be able to score a decent amount of points. Not like crazy. Like, it is only over 218.5. Like, I think the Suns should be able to score like 112. I think the Clippers will keep the game close overall. I just kind of expect a close game in this one. But overall, betting spread, probably wouldn't touch it. And then over-under, honestly, I could see this be like a slower defensive game. And I could also see it as like a high-scoring game where it's like a lot of three-pointers. But overall, over 218.5 seems reasonable to me. Thank you for watching. As always, bet responsibly. Have fun watching the games, and good luck on your bets. And thank you for watching.